because of the packing in them. Now, it was an organic cat litter is what it was. Get this one. Here's one more I have to read.
Yeah.
Missouri State Senator Maria Chappelle Nadal said on September 17th, quote, there are references that are in the reports that the Attorney General did with independent scientists where they say that what we have under the ground could end up as another Chernobyl. What I am concerned about are the 40,000 tons of uranium that have been spread all over the place. We're talking about the most potent uranium in the world. We're looking at cancer clusters. We're looking at the number of children who have double sets of teeth, children who have missing eyeballs, the number of children who have brain tumors. This is not consistent right now with a normal community whatsoever. They're already seeing the results of this horror that someone has perpetrated on St. Louis County and Missouri. Who did it? When was it done? What were the casks made of? Probably 55-gallon steel drums, something like that. How deep were they buried? Now, you've got 6,700 tons of plutonium. And Dana Durnford, we now have a report from a Missouri state senator of 40,000 tons of uranium that have been spread all over the place as well.
Well, all over the place. I think she means all over the United States at various dump sites all over the U.S.
I hope so.
There's this is just one-time bomb that is, this is a one-time bomb that is getting set off. There's, she means it's probably dozens more. Maybe
I hope so.
But like this.
All right. I'm just reading the quote. So
they catch on fire.
Yeah. Dana, go ahead, Dana.
This is an old landfill.
Yeah.
Well, 6,700 tons is 14.7 million pounds, and 40,000 tons is 88 million pounds. And a pound of this, if you put it into a theater, it will kill everybody in the front row in a minute. And if there's 300 people there, they're dead in 20 minutes. And you can clean theater out and exterminate every human on the planet with that single pound. So what would 88, or just that 6,700 tons catching fire will do besides the damage we already got?
1 pound of plutonium will kill everybody on the planet.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and all the animals too. It'll do it.
That's the end of the planet. All right. So what we've done here, this stupid, asinine, allegedly sentient species, has created in this. How many other environments are there like this around the country? Who buried these weapons-grade plutonium casks near St. Louis? 6,700 tons of it. You need 1 pound of plutonium to kill everything on the planet. Okay. Do you understand what we're talking about, dear ladies and gentlemen? Wherever you are in the world, this is of keen interest to you, critical interest it should be. Go ahead, Yoshi.
Yeah, now you wonder why does this thing burn out of control? You got to remember, in those days, and I don't know if still now, because I'm sure illegally it's done, we're talking about rubber tires. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of rubber tires are buried inside America's landfills. And when those start burning, you can't stop it. Nothing can stop it. It's highly combustible, it's super toxic, and it just keeps burning and burning, melting and burning along. So this is we're not talking about, waste paper. We're talking about a massively intense underground fire that generates it doesn't need a lot of oxygen. It's a chemical fire basically because of the rubber tires. It's not a normal fire like with wood or paper. It's a chemical fire that's going on. It's a chemical process.
Let me tell you one other thing.
All sorts of toxins.
Yeah. Here's a quickie. It's not known, but maybe Dana's heard about this. I don't know. It's a very little-known fact that one of the most, in fact, far more toxic than automobile exhaust are the vapors that come off a rubber tire at speed on a roadway. That tire wears out, and that rubber turns into a gas. And that gas, in micro concentrations, is far deadlier than any waste that comes out of an internal combustion engine. Go ahead, Dana.
what Yoshi was saying was that about fire underground. Well, these vapors, these noble gases, what they need is oxygen. They don't need a flame. They can actually combust just by coming in contact with oxygen. And these releases noble gases, so all the casts are venting all the time. And if not, they would detonate on their own at some point. And it would, and then the rest of the area would be, you wouldn't be able to go near it. And that's what we've seen happen basically anyway, like you guys were saying. And the same thing with rubber tires, and like they complain about people smoking, but if you stand alongside of a vehicle for a few moments, you are getting a wicked, unbelievable, imaginable attack upon your immune system and your whole body that'll stick around for years. And so it's just that I'm shocked that there's so much. This 6,700 tons, I wasn't quite up to speed, and this got me shocked.
Yoshi, where did you get that figure, 6,700 tons of warhead material?
I think it was a report in 2013. The fire has been burning for years, and that was the estimate back then. Yeah. And so it is a sizable amount. I mean, the one solution on the temporary, it's not a solution, but to stall the chemical release and this the heat coming across, it's called plating. You get these huge steel plates and you drive them into the ground, one after the other, down deep, to make a steel wall. And that'll temporarily hold it. But the problem of the rubber, underground chemically, it will probably corrode through steel, eat through it eventually, and especially if it's hot, if it's burning, and it'll burn through. It will give the DOE, let's say, a couple more years to dig out the nuclear waste and move it. And pity the poor guys who are going to have to do that job, but it's got to be done. It's a lot of weight, and basically a lot of Missouri is going to have to be evacuated. Anything in the path of the gas coming out, they're leaking. Whole highways, freeway, they're going to have to just be closed maybe for, next 10,000 years. There's going to have to be a death strip there so they move it out of the way of this fire and then repack it in the new gas. And the danger, again, is if it's leaking tritium and hydrogen, explosion in the air. You can dig the stuff out, but it could explode in contact. As Dana said, that's what happened at Fukushima. As soon as this gas gets in contact with air, it explodes wildly, making huge arcs of electricity along these powerful flames. If everyone remembers how the spent fuel pool burned that reactor 4. It was like incredible flame just going out horizontally. It was just massively. It was just burning out meters. Shooting out of there. So.
All right. What we have here is something, as I read to you, that is already polluting, which indicates to me that the casks have decayed, some of them at least, or whatever they're in, and has polluted the neighboring parcels of land. All right? You heard it. It's in the vegetation. It's in the soil. Those people, if I were there, I would get the hell out of there immediately. This is not panic time, but it is panic time because we are facing a situation that could be so catastrophic. She mentioned Chernobyl. You see, now that woman should have mentioned what? She should not have mentioned Chernobyl. She should have mentioned Fukushima if she wanted to make an analogy, but she doesn't know because the American media has delisted or blackballed any coverage of Fukushima. So her frame of reference is Chernobyl. She doesn't understand that Fukushima is pouring radiation into the ocean. It's in the atmosphere. It's in the rain. It's in St. Louis. It's in her backyard. She doesn't know it. So there's another part of the story. Dana, go ahead.
Let me remind everybody that that this whole industry is based upon a lie, and that everybody that's listening to it, the media is going to, anytime there's an accident, they're going to tell you it's like a banana or a potato chip or walking in the sunshine or getting on an airplane. And they've been doing this for 70 years, but they actually know the difference, and they do that on purpose to reinforce that lie. And so like what Jeff is talking about and Yoshi's talking about and he's passionate about and has articulated so well is a call to action for everybody out there that this is the time to do things and time to talk sense and time to think about and reflect on what is it is our legacy? And is our legacy just the end of society and end of everything? We are the last stand of this planet. Make no mistake about it. We're looking at an extinction event playing out in the Pacific Ocean, and we have all these sites that are buried underground. They buried it under the ground, Jeff, because it's unstable already, right? That's why they got rid of it. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah. This is amazing. Do we know, Yoshi, much about this burial site? I don't.
No, there's not a lot of information. The fire was known, but the details of the closeness and all the distance to the site, that just came out this last week. So this thing has been hushed up by the Department of Energy. So they're not setting up. And when they're talking with some scientists find radiation in neighboring sites, obviously neighbors were complaining, right? Some sort of deformity. There must be some grounds neighboring property owners, maybe they have cattle there or sheep or something, and they're noticing deformities and they complain. This is not a city block. These are huge tracts of land. So the spread of the radioactive material is vast. So we don't know the dimensions of the site. The government, the state government, the city government, no one's talking. I think it's time for people to, tell us what's going on, because it's a real threat. And she's right. And she says Chernobyl, it should have been Fukushima, because Fukushima is a closer model where you have these tritium, deuterium fires. Well, there's got a lot more information on what's done, so other scientists can come in and try to engineers figure out solutions. I think plating is the first thing they got to do, just to slow this thing down, so they can begin to figure out how to deal with this, how to pump out that tritium. They're going to have to pump it out somehow. I don't know how they're going to do that, but it's a monumental task, and it is going to be not as complex as Fukushima, but it's going to be very, very difficult to do. To handle those volumes of water, that much radioactive material, that much, explosive gas, radioactive explosive gas. It's going to be easily a several billion-dollar project to deal with that. It's just reality. The government's got to spend it. Yeah.
Right. If this actually ignited, I don't know how much mass or force it would have under the ground. I'm wondering if it's buried 100 meters deep or 10 meters deep. I don't know. And it could blow right up through the surface.
Yeah, if it triggers basically a thermonuclear reaction, tritium can trigger, the tritium gas, especially in a very hot environment, and it's already hot because it's pressurized underground, but in contact with chemical fire, it can trigger a chain reaction, and that's the problem. Once calf starts blowing up, you do have a massive serious problem, and you can't get to it. There's meters and meters, tens of meters of dirt and soil, and garbage or whatever they put over this site on top of those nuclear caps. So it'll be very difficult to get to. So, and then the underwater leakage program. This is St. Louis is right there by the Mississippi River, right? It's at the confluence of the, it's where the Mississippi gets big. We're talking about groundwater already reaching the neighbors, okay, which are like at least probably a quarter mile, half a mile away. Yeah. So it's already in the groundwater. If this thing explodes, there goes the Mississippi. All that stuff. Just like Fukushima in the heart of a leakage, the water leakage in the heart of the United States. Okay?
Wow.
Very wet, humid area. As you know, Midwest is not like California. It's not drought-stricken. Lots of rainfall, snowfall there. It's right there in the basin of the Mississippi River, in the heart of America, not that far from Chicago, Memphis, places like that. It's New Orleans downstream, and, how many American towns and cities downstream?
Okay, let me read.
There will be a Fukushima in the heart of America.